Can't even really talk, to be honest with you. I don't know which one this is. Can you even hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know if you heard. Former co-host of mine. I hope you get as emotional when I die as I am right now about the passing of Tyrone Booze. He was pretty well known at WTAN. We used to do a radio show together with Dexter Jackson. Good dude. I mean, he really was a good guy. I got notification late last week that they were moving him to hospice. And I don't know, I'm sure this is going to make me sound bad, but I wanted to go, I just couldn't. I just couldn't.
Because you don't want the memory, like you don't want the last memory. Because your fondest memory of your time together is probably in Germany, being booed, carrying the American flag.
That was cool.
Carrying the belt to the ring. So like, you don't want to see him at his worst. Like these legends, like the WWE guys, and some of these guys are surfacing where it's at the last days, and that's not how you remember them. That's in character and on the biggest stage of the world. And so is it that, or you just don't like hospital? Don't like?
Well, yeah, I definitely don't like that. I mean, I definitely don't like death. Who does?
And hospice, like people don't really come out of that usually.
You know, and part of it, you know, to be honest, even though I didn't go see him a year or two ago, when I was first told he was in a nursing home, a mutual friend of ours, and we became friends, Arcadia, who had been on the show. Arcadia's in the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, a really good artist. And Tyrone kind of helped him get into the boxing world. Arcadia was with us, with Tyrone, myself, and Jimmy McLaughlin, 29 years ago when T went to go defend his title, which he did not do, in Hamburg, Germany. And he reached out to me. He told me, you know, he wasn't well. And I thought about going then, and it's just, you know, I just don't like. And then he sent me video, and Tyrone was blind and, you know, not doing well. And so, whatever. I just couldn't. I thought about it. I couldn't. But that may be part of it. You know, you want to remember, you know, other things. And, you know, the last thing in my mind, I guess, you know, I didn't want him laying there or whatever. And again, I didn't know how he would be. Mm-hmm. But typically, if you're in hospice, it's not good.
Yeah.
You know, you're not aware, you're not coherent or whatever. So Saturday is when the news came down. I spoke to Michael Bent, if you know who that is, another former boxing guy from the Tampa Bay area. Matter of fact, Michael Bent played, I forget who he was, Lennox Lewis maybe, I think it was the Muhammad Ali, so it wouldn't have been Lennox Lewis, but I forget what part he played, and he was in the Muhammad Ali movie. Okay. And I reached out to him, and, you know, he sent his condolences, and if they have something here, he's from, I believe Tyrone was from Hartford, fought Evander Holyfield. Sad. Final thing on a negative, even though it's not negative. So when I first started getting involved in mixed martial arts, Tyrone would always say that he could beat a mixed martial artist.
Okay. There are a lot of boxers that thought that. James Toney thought he could do so.
And I'm sure a lot of boxers still do think that.
Sure.
And I remember vividly Tyrone telling me, Randy, I come from the streets.
Uh-huh.
You know, I can handle these MMA guys. Trust me.
Okay.
And then he went and he trained some MMA. And I remember it. He goes, you know what, Randy? I can't beat these MMA guys.
They're a different breed.
Always happy, always smiling. You know, I don't want to pull the show down any further than I already have.
Yeah, I mean, could we do memorials at the end of the show from now on?
No, no.
Like you started off so heavy.
Well, because I want to honor the guy.
Of course.
You know.
Well, you can honor him on the way out, like, kind of like a ride off in the sunset, like the end of the show.
That's probably what you're going to do. You'll honor me at the way out after the show's over.
Yeah.
See you. Good riddance.
Oh, thanks, Randy, for the mic. I'll see you next time.
Well, how would you do that? See, if I don't show up and I've died, all the equipment will be with me.
No, it'll be with our producer, Steve.
It's not with our producer, Steve, now.
Well, it will be.
When?
When there's in the will. You have a will? Are we in the will?
No.
Well, we need a will. So can someone call a station? You know, I need a will testament for the show.
Here's kind of my thought on that is I just have visions once I do a will, then I'm going to die. Okay. So I'm not doing a will.
We can write it for you. I mean, it may be in crayon, and the words might be misspelled if Steve wrote it.
Yeah, but
Because he filled out an application last week to work at Tour de Pizza, and it was in crayon and invisible with decoder ink.
I'm sure that my wife would say that I wasn't coherent and I wasn't in a proper state of
She
mind.
said that since 1986.
Yeah, I did know her in '86. I was just trying to think if we knew each other.
40
then.
years.
What?
You guys have been married 40 years, so you
Something like that.
certainly
Yeah.
knew her.
This just was our 40th year. Yeah, you're right. All right, so scheduled for today's show. And
you got?
Tyrone, I know that you can't tell, but I'm thinking of you. On today's show, big UFC weekend.
Yeah.
You know,
The
it's
greatest UFC fighter in all of UFC. Self-proclaimed.
Who?
Nate Diaz.
I don't think he claims
He
that.
claimed that this week. He said he's the best fighter in the whole UFC.
Well-
all the UFC.
He could claim he's the best fighter. That doesn't make him the greatest fighter of all time.
I didn't say that. I do have a problem with a statement that I saw on Facebook this week. Picture of Kamaru Usman and
Or Kamaru.
GSP. And
Yeah.
it said two goats. But it can't be two goats. The word itself stands for greatest of all time.
Right.
Not the greatest.
Right.
It's not the goats.
The GOATs, yeah.
It's so yeah, you can't have two goats.
No, you're right. They're both the same weight class.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
so,
like, that's-
you could get away with if you had, a lightweight and a welterweight.
Or John Jones and Shevchenko or Nunez but
Well, no, John would be the best in those weight classes too.
because he's only lost to one guy.
Yeah.
Matt the Hammer Hamill, who is now in my garage.
Did I give you a signed poster?
I do
Great
have-
movie. You do need to see the movie,
I do.
The Hammer.
We
It
do
is very
need to
good.
see it.
So again, we'll head out to Las Vegas here shortly. Darren Weeks fights this weekend. Hakeem Dawadu, who takes on Julian Eroso. Both of them will be on. And another BKFC this weekend. Title fight on the line.
Yeah. And they're in Great Falls, Montana this weekend.
Is that where it is?
It's like the Glacier National Park. I mean, it's way up there. I think you have to go to Canada to come back down.
Well, you can't, because in order to go to Canada, you have to do all these COVID testings.
Oh, they still got that COVID
Yeah,
thing?
that COVID thing is still out
Is
there.
it still really?
Who knows? I still see people driving wearing masks alone.
I saw somebody playing tennis out here last week wearing a mask. Like, you're on the other side of the court.
When we come back, no, we do have a couple minutes. I know you didn't see it. I just showed you video, and I watched the first two sets
Okay.
of last night's. He's my new favorite tennis player,
Okay.
Nick Kyrgios.
Nick Kyrgios?
Is that how you say it? Love the guy.
And you love him because?
He's Jimmy Connors. He's John McEnroe combined. If
Because-
John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors had a baby, Nick would be the baby.
And so this guy, because he smashed two tennis rackets after he lost
Yep.
in frustration,
Yep.
like he's now your favorite tennis player?
Well, he was my favorite tennis player
Here's
before
the problem. Here's the problem with tennis. Okay, my restaurant's inside a tennis
Yeah,
club.
my neck hurts from watching tennis.
But the problem with tennis is that these guys are like this is what started the Karen movement. It's guys that are on the other side of a barrier with a weapon that are so angry that they take it out in frustration and hit the ground. These guys
Racket
only
didn't do
act like
anything.
that because they've never been punched in the mouth. You have a brawl on a tennis court, it's going to change the way these guys act. Nobody acts like that if they've been punched in the mouth.
That's not true, because baseball has bench clearing brawls all the time. They never throw punches. They act bad. They tell their coaches, "Hey, stand in front of me so I can act bad."
I mean, they did have a stabbing once, like Monica Seles, I guess. But like other than that, tennis is pretty lame, and those guys need to be punched in the mouth. They broke two great rackets.
Yeah, and you're right. He could have auctioned those two off.
He could have gave them to a charity. Could have gave them to like kids in need. Could have developed the next Serena and Venus Williams that couldn't afford to play tennis and they had to go to the park and had no money for coaches. They could have changed lives of two people with those rackets. But no, he smashed it like a baby. But I think somebody should punch him in the mouth. In fact, I'll punch him in the mouth just because you like him.
Sounds good. Let's go hit our first break. Coming to you live from Tournament to Pizza. This is Knockout Radio, brought to you by 8 Man Strong and Staff Zone. We'll be right back.